we need to go one step farther. Now that you have figured out the way the information is organized in this book, now we need to grab just the data and put it not on separate pages. We need to take important parts of each page and we're going to make a chart for that. This is your rough draft of the chart, so don't worry about straight lines. Don't worry if things get a little wiggly and waggly. What you should be sure is that you can read it because you will be using this information later. What is the information? Well, we will need to include the date, how much daylight, we don't necessarily need to include the sunrise and sunset times. Temper, T-E-M-P-E-R-A-T-U-R-E. Temperatures. We don't have to include them. If you choose to include the temperatures, you might include the high or the low, but we want to focus on the idea of Arctic lights, how much light there is in the Arctic. So we are going to make a chart that includes the date and how much daylight there is. So that means we really only need 2 columns in our chart. We need to have the date and we need to have how much daylight. Now be careful because of the way this is recorded in the book. So now that we know that this is organized with the date and how much daylight on the left-hand side, at the top I can zoom in on that page and it'll be easier to get the information. So we know the date that we're starting on here is June 21st. How much daylight? Well, I'm going to show you what some 5th graders do. They say 21.49 because 21 hours and 49 minutes. The problem with that is putting the decimal point means 49 out of 100. There are only 60 minutes in an hour, so 49 minutes are not 49 hundredths of an hour. So what you need to think about here is the nearest quarter hour, right? So from the 12 to the 3, that's 15 minutes. So at 15 minutes, that would be 0.25. It's 1/4 of the hour. If you are at 30 minutes, so let me make this a little bit color-coded. If you are at 30 minutes, you should be able to see that's half an hour. What's the decimal for half? 0.5. If you make it all the way to here, that piece is 3/4, right? How many minutes is that? Well, that's 45 minutes. The decimal that goes with 45 minutes, it's 3/4 of an hour, so that is 0.75. And anywhere between 45 and 60 minutes, that would be close to a whole hour. So we are going to round to the nearest quarter hour. So 21 hours and 49 minutes. 49 minutes is over here. We will round that up instead of 21 hours, 0.75. We're going to call that 22 hours. So we are going to round to the nearest quarter hour. So that's June 21st. Well, what about July? Oops, well, considering that I skipped to August, that's going to be a problem, isn't it? July 21st, 19 hours and 24 minutes. So 24 minutes is going to be close to 30 minutes. So it's going to be 19 and a half, 19.5 hours. August. I'm not going to write down August 21st. You are. 15 hours and 50 minutes. That's almost the next whole hour. So we are going to round this to be 16 hours. 12 hours and 22 minutes. 22 minutes is almost 30 minutes. So that's a half hour. So this will be 12 and a half hours. 9 hours and 2 minutes. Well, it should be pretty easy to see where you are going to round October. So June, July, August, September, October. So I'm not giving you this information. You need it. You can figure it out. November. 5 hours and 41. 41 minutes is close to 45 minutes. So we will write 5 hours and 75 hundredths. 5 3/4 of an hour. We're rounding to the nearest quarter hour. December. 3 hours and 43 minutes. The 43 minutes should round to the 45 minutes. So 3 hours and 75 hundredths. January. 5 hours and 48 minutes. That's going to round up to the next hour. So we're going to call that 6 whole hours of daylight in January. February. 9 hours and 9 minutes. Should be pretty obvious. You're going to round down and just call it 9 hours. March, 12 hours and 24 minutes. 24 minutes is close to 30 minutes. So you will call this 12 hours and a half an hour. That was March, April, May, June. April, 52 minutes is almost another whole hour. So you should round up to the nearest whole hour. 24 minutes. 24 minutes is close to 30 minutes, which is 0.5, our half hour. How many whole hours? Well, it tells you in May. June. Oh no, it doesn't tell me June. This is true, but we already got June hours of daylight at the very beginning. Your homework today is to be sure that you have finished this chart and send it to me. If you need to pause the video to make sure that you get yours looking like this, that's fine. It'd be a good idea to copy the clock and the decimals that go with it, because that's an important math idea that you use a lot in real life. The science assignment is to finish collecting this data, photograph that, and send it to me.